People always overcomplicate things. Sometimes you just need to keep your approach simple. So here's a pretty basic market from earlier in the week, and there's a few points to take from this. The first being the strategy that's sort of employed is really quite simple, for very simple reasons, and I think people often overcomplicate the markets and what they're doing. Secondly, I'm remaining fairly patient in this, and you see that I removed that order there, and and waited that little bit longer, and the urge to close out can be a bit. You can close out a bit soon a lot of the time is what I'm trying to say, which arguably I could have done there, but there's a bit of a bounce back going on. And then thirdly is keeping discipline, because it's really easy to want to just lump on to a move when you actually spot something going on, as we have here. Obviously got in at 1.42, was maybe even a little bit slow there, and the big hit started at around about 1.4, and we're now up at 1.5. So I mean I'm in a position where I might want to be getting involved a little bit more, but we've already gone 10 ticks since everything started, so you've got to remain disciplined in what you're doing and bear in mind where the starting point was, because a price, when it starts to move, even if it is a swing, can't go on forever. By not submitting to that greed and sort of managing that risk, puts you in a far more profitable position over the longer period, which is something you have to remember. You can't keep looking at things market for market. So, what's actually happened here? Now, on opening this market, it's a very standard market. It's not a high-profile race. I'm looking at the market, and the first thing I'm thinking is we've got a very short price favourite, or we did have, down at 1.4, 1.39 when I opened up. Now, my first impression on that is, more than anything in this entire market, if the opportunity arises, I want to be laying the favourite. Why? Because risk-reward is skewed in favour of laying that favourite, because down at a compressed price, you're not gonna. It's extremely unlikely you're going to get a swing in the opposite direction for it to shorten any more. Already been at the bottom of sort of the price ranges, and even if it did, the actual return's not going to be awesome for what it is. On top of that as well, when you've got a short price, or in any market, the favourite is always battling the rest of the market. In a lot of instances, the favourite can lead the market as well, depending on sort of support and resistance within the market. But what I'm trying to say here is the favourite actually needs to gain quite a volume of support within this market to even maintain its position down at 1.4. So really simply, short price favourites, it's always preferable to lay them first. Really quite simple. Obviously, you do have to remember, though, not every short price favourite is going to drift. It's a short price favourite for a reason. It's obviously popular within the market and people's opinion, so it may actually be quite valid that it's at that price. All I'm saying is the potential upside is to lay it first. Now, if you look at the graph on this particular instance as well, you can see when the drift started to occur, at the time I was possibly thinking this favourite could be weak within the market because there wasn't a huge amount of support for it, especially in comparison to the others, because there was a little bit of money coming for some of the outsiders. But if you look at the Betfair graph at the bottom on the favourite, and I'll highlight it on the screen now, there was a large chunk that actually initiated this move. There was a large chunk that come into the market on the lay side, knocked the price for a couple of ticks, and that is what set off this move to start in the first place. At which point is where I dived in the market. Now that chunk come in at about 1.39 or 1.4, so you can see I was a little bit slow to get on at 1.42, but I didn't do too bad. So at that price range as well, it's going to be even more influential when a large chunk comes into the market, just like that, knocks the price up, and then everything starts to follow, because that's where it probably was going to go anyway.